Alright, let's get this going. I haven't streamed for a while. And I backed this game. It feels like 3 or 4 years ago at this point, so I'm excited to play the demo, and I figured why not stream it while I'm doing it. Now let me figure out the actual audio levels here. So I figure I want to bring this way down. Like this. So this is the demo that they released after a while. The Kickstarter for this game looked incredibly good. And then it took a while. I think they took a couple of took them a while to find themselves. They went off and tried to make something that was a little bit more ambitious than just a straight System Shock remake. And that looked good, but I guess ultimately it wasn't really what people expected. So we're back to what I'm expecting is a somewhat straight up System Shock 1 remake using the Unreal Engine. And honestly, that's exactly what I signed up for. So let's see. Now, I haven't really played this yet. I'm gonna have to do all my settings and everything else. I'm also gonna have to bring down my audio a little bit on my headphones. Alright, right in. But before we do anything here, sound for sure. Let's bring this down. Apply. So this is a demo, and I'm not sure everything actually works. And I don't expect everything to work either. These options aren't actually working for me. So I'm gonna go. Hey.
I think Allie wants a popsicle. I think she wants it because it will help her cough. Can she have one?
Yes, she can have a popsicle. Alright.
I don't need one to see it.
Okay. So it's going to be a lot of guest appearances in this stream, I think, for my kids, because I'm just doing this up here in my office while they're doing whatever they're doing, and they're going to come up at some point. Alright, so here we go. Cool. That looks very System Shocky to me. I still need to do my settings. So I have these really weird key bindings. And I hope key binding works in this one, because otherwise I'm going to be a little bit screwed. This is just a... how do I do my actual movement controls? I don't think I can use a keypad yet. I remember that. But so my movement keys are weird. I have W and S for backward and forward, but then I have E for left and I have R for right. That's just how I played things back in the day. And then I'm gonna do Q and T to lean. Quick life and next time. Don't need a screenshot. Zoom. Reload, I usually have on tab. Zoom, I might put on middle mouse button. We'll see. Actually, I usually have use on there. Stay use in. Interact, right mouse button. Okay, we'll see how that works. That's pretty much everything there is, isn't there? Lean left and lean right. Let's see, that should be good enough. I just got, so now if I remember this correctly, you're this hacker, you helped this guy called Diego to hack and ultimately set free Shodan the AI. He gives you a neural cyber interface, puts you into hypersleep, and when you wake up, you come back about and you find that the entire Citadel station has been taken over. Something went horribly wrong. It's a formula, of course, that's been used so many times since then in various immersive sims. Now it's a really good formula to just kind of create a world that has been, well, that invites exploration and invites the player to figure out what happened. But because I've been in hypersleep and just woke up, I'm probably about as disoriented, like with my controls not fully being set, as the guy who I'm playing. So anything here I can pick up? No crouch in here, is there? Oh, there we go. Press right to pick up Medipack healing agent. There we go. So it was a little bit confusing to me because it wasn't immediately clear. If I'm looking at all of this, there's no visual distinction between what is interactable in this game and what's not. So those... a lot of those items look exactly like the ones I can actually pick up. These buttons all look very familiar. Oh, I couldn't actually fully see this. It looks like, yeah, they're not doing bilinear filtering to make everything look a little bit like System Shock back in the day. That's cool. Here we go. That's my trusty wrench. Remember that? That's your initial weapon. This is all very similar. This might actually be exactly the same. Oh, this is the neural interface, isn't it? If I remember correctly, those are my upgrade points. Oh yeah, so this all feels incredibly System Shock. I think System Shock is really one of the games that established the genre and all the tropes. So if a lot of this feels super stale, you know, like audio logs and an abandoned space station in which something went terribly wrong, well, this was the first game to really do it. There was Ultima Underworld back in the day, then there was Thief coming out after this. Those are all games which heavily factor into the immersive sim genre, but System Shock is one of the games that very much established all of these tropes. Terra Nova is another one which came out afterwards. It's kind of sadly overlooked, but not really going to talk too much about it. But all by the same company here, Blue Sky Interactive, or Looking Glass after the fact. I think they initially were called Blue Sky Interactive. But they are turned into Looking Glass, and they made all of these games and pretty much gave us an entire genre and really like leapfrogged computer games years. Established a lot of the things which I think at this point have gotten a little bit stale, but back in the day were like revolutionary, and like people have fed off that for ages. Okay, so as you'll see, I'm probably going to talk as much and be a game historian here as I'm actually going to play the game, because I should just be attacking this trash can right here, the surfboard. But man, I just like, this brings back so many memories, and as a game developer, of course, somebody who loves immersive sims, this is pretty much what comes to my mind. This is the kind of stuff that just... oh, there he goes. Here we go. Oh, he's not even... Here we go. Like, initially he was headbutting, he wasn't actually striking with it. That was a little bit weird. These guys, of course, were just 2D... I think I used right-click right here. And so here's my inventory. This is mine, and so how do I actually... Oh, this is, I guess, what he had. Awesome, have a real inventory. Take all and close. Perfect. But these guys were just 2D sprites, right? And when I originally played this game, it was in VGA resolution, so it was 320 by 200. So I think that might have charged me a bit. Maybe not. Not sure if that actually... Okay, now it's actually recharging me. A little bit confusing. I guess it's like I'm supposed to be in there. Alright. Man, this looks cool. I mean, this looks so much like a throwback to System Shock. This looks really amazing. And as I say in my video description as well, I work at Epic Games. I'm lead designer at Special Projects. This stream is completely and utterly unaffiliated with that. I don't really care what the game is. I don't care which engine you're using. I'm really glad this is using Unreal, because, I mean, I love that engine, obviously, but, like, I'm saying all this just, like, completely devoid or detached of the actual engine they did it in. It just looks good. I think he's not quite dying. Yeah, he kind of shut down, but he didn't go into his death state, so I'm not sure if I can actually get stuff from him. I guess I can. He just doesn't look dead then. I would love to, like, he just goes, no collision here, I would love to push him over. But yeah, just love the look here. Like, I think it really captures the original System Shock look incredibly well. It also captures well the limitations of that engine, because while it was back then a full 3D engine, which was novel, right? Like, I don't know if Ultima Underworld really was a full 3D engine. It kind of had ups and downs and stuff, but this felt more 3D than Doom, for example, felt back in the day, which was 2.5D. But the limitations of this engine were very much a grid kind of system that could have ups and downs, that could have slopes, but everything was on that kind of grid. So you can see this here as well, right? Like, everything very much has exactly the same widths and possibly also the same heights. Now, obviously, this is a full 3D engine in Unreal, so you don't really care about that. But I think they're maintaining that look really well. These then were just texture mapped individual wall tiles that you had back in the day, which are meshes now. So remember these guys, I think you used the power station. I seem to remember you actually had to destroy, but maybe those were like battery packs or something. I remember that every level had a security level, and it had these security cameras. And you could bring down a security level all the way by destroying batteries or something else. But I guess that was a power station for my... I mean, the power is obviously up there in blue. Don't remember what I can use it for, so I guess we'll see. What I'm gonna do real quick here is try to bring up my brightness just a little bit. FOV is fine, we're not doing VSync, maybe we should. I am wondering if I can change. Again, it's a demo, don't expect too much yet, right? Like, I'm sure the full game is gonna have all of this, but I don't seem to have a graphics option yet to... Oh, why is this low? I want this to be both ultra, I think. Texture quality, I think I wanted 1 as well. I'm not sure if it actually works, but yeah, I don't see a way to actually change my brightness. One moment. Hey, what's up?
Ellie says she doesn't want the popsicle.
Yeah? Oh, that works out pretty well for you, huh? Okay, you can have the popsicle. Make sure that you remember to eat it responsibly, okay?
Yes, I will.
Okay. You're welcome. But yeah, so it doesn't look like I can change the actual brightness here. So I'm gonna keep it a little bit dark. It's fine, I can totally see everything. Just trying to bring it up a little bit. Alright, so there's a camera. Oh, so I guess they didn't actually do anything yet? I remember you can destroy them. And you wanted to destroy them to bring down the security level. I'm trying to remember what that did. But so they were pretty much just collectible at that point. They don't have any... Yeah, here's the security level. They don't actually have functionality built in, like raising an alarm or you having to dodge them, etc. Again, remember that you played this with a mouse back then, but you played it with a mouse like using arrow keys, if I remember correctly. The way you were moving around, how easily I can free look here, look up and down, etc. The original System Shock didn't have that. Original System Shock was much more a look straight ahead, slowly, almost like driving a car, a remote controlled car through the environment instead of the full 3D, easily look up and down, like full freedom of movement. So creating gameplay where you had to dodge security cameras, etc. was probably would have been a little bit more challenging. So just destroying these guys is probably everything that worked. I can't get over how awesome this looks. The only thing that's missing for me, honestly, to get this perfect retro feeling is the old music. Because these games back in the day, instead of being like super atmospheric with these sound effects and the soundscape that I have right now, it had just music tracks underlying. And I still have, I mean, I have it on my iPad, so I listen to these all the time anyway. But I still very much remember the music for this. And I understand why it's not here. For one, I don't know if they would actually have the light. That's not true. I think Night Dive actually bought the rights to these games, so they can do whatever they want. I think they're actually licensing even the old engine that was used to make this, if you want to make like a retro kind of engine. like game based on this engine. So I guess they could have the music in here, but I understand why it's not, because by modern standards it feels a little bit I know, it feels a little bit counter to the atmosphere that they're actually trying to create here. So let's listen to this. Press F to hold. It's not actually doing it, so this might be, again, this being a demo. I might have rebound that key and just not noticed it. And then the tutorials might not update. Toggle mode. I don't actually know what toggle mode is, by the way, but is there a way here to play? Nope, I don't see that. So how do I get my this was reload. How do I get my how do I open my inventory? Should figure that out. So I'm wondering if the voice log is in there and I can play it from there. Controls, sensitivity, I'm gonna bring this up a little bit, by the way. It's pretty low. Voice map, no. Interact, toggle mode, is that what? Can't be, can it? I'm gonna put it on here. That can't be the nope, that's not my inventory. Okay, I'm gonna figure it out later. I guess I just don't get to listen to him. So 451 is the quintessential first key code you're gonna find in every single immersive sim. Certainly one that subscribes to the heritage of System Shock. It's a homage to Fahrenheit 451. Every single stream I've done, when I streamed Dishonored, for example, talked at length about this. So just know that every single game that follows in the legacy that very much subscribes to this heritage is gonna have a key code that's 451 or 0451 at the very beginning. So that is our 451, our first key code. Perfect. Ah! That's actually a decent jump scare. That actually did get me. That was a weird wah. Again, like playing this back in the day with the mouse, like you would not have been able to fight this guy as convincingly as I just did, because I can actually hit him, dodge back, hit him, dodge back. Back then I felt it was a little bit more, you just stand there and you hammer the mouse button and then you just hope you kill him before he kills you. Maybe you're able to dodge a little bit. Maybe I'm just remembering this incorrectly, but feel like I can fight these guys a little bit better. So he's one of the mutated guys, I guess, from, I don't even remember. He has kind of like crystal eyes. I don't remember if Shodan does genetic experiments or if these guys mutate or something. Not entirely sure. Having worked on Dead Space and having done a lot of slasher gameplay and created that, these guys, of course, I mean, we followed in the footsteps of System Shock, but this guy reminds me now of the slashers that we had back then. In Dead Space.
Welcome back to Citadel Station.
Here we go.
We hope your somnolent healing
Shodan.
stage went well. Today is the 6th day of November, year 2072. You are currently in the healing suites located on the first level. Level 2 contains the research laboratories. 3 houses the Department of Maintenance, and the storage cells are on level 4. The flight deck is on level 5. Level 6 holds crew facilities and executive suites, and level 7 is systems engineering. Level 8 houses the Department of Security. The bridge is located on level 9, and energy systems on level R. All levels can be accessed by the elevator in Alpha Quadrant. We hope you have a pleasant stay on Citadel's station.
Alright, now we're Shodan. She is one of the most iconic villains, certainly for my generation, in computer games. The mad robot taking everything over. She was just perfect. Like, I think I still have a whole bunch of her. But I still have a whole bunch of her sound effects and what she says. You know, like the iconic "look at you, hacker," etc., etc. Like, I think these are all re-recordings. I don't even know if it's the same voice or not, but yeah, that just like everything here. I understand now why there wasn't music before, right? Coming out here, having Shodan come on, see something that looks very much like the old System Shock, having Shodan's voice come on. I mean, that just gives you a little bit of goosebumps if you remember these games. And certainly remember, this is a Kickstarter, and in many ways, this demo, this entire game is going to be fan service, right? I hope they get a whole bunch of people who have not played the game before and play it for the first time, but I think this is really directed at people who loved System Shock back in the day and want to relive it. And so far, I mean, it's pretty much that game. It looks gorgeous. It looks retro at the same time. I think they're very much aiming to... Oh, look, there's just a tiny bit of animation on here. Yeah, right there. That's pretty cool. They're very much trying to create those kind of moments where people who remember System Shock are just having, like, their memories are jogged. Alrighty, so this is cool. I think this used to go... Oops. Okay, so you just turn this around. I think this used to be like a separate screen back in the days, like to actually hack these things. Now I need to remember how to do this, because it's not entirely clear to me. Like, it's hard to tell exactly what this does up there, for example. Obviously you're going to... Okay, and these can't be moved, so obviously you're gonna try to reroute the green nodes. So I'm gonna do this and this. Be nice to get some feedback. If I do this, see, this should reroute to here. Except again, I think you're supposed to reroute from this to this. That might be correct. If that is the case, then I'm not sure how to do it because that leads in there. Can I even do this? This is where watching a stream like this might be kind of boring, because I'm committed to just playing the game. I'm gonna stream anything that I actually am playing, but I'm not necessarily gonna try to make it super stream friendly. I'm just gonna try to figure this out. It might be boring because I might be sitting here for 10 minutes while you, who knows exactly what to do, is just screaming at your screen saying, do that! Alright, so I actually managed to do something here. I managed to get a light to this power node, and then do I just need to reroute the other power node? But this should have done it, right? That's what's a little bit confusing to me. It's confusing to me why this actually routed, while this here, which also seems to have a connection from here to that node, for example, is not lighting up. Should we? I'm assuming this is going to open this hatch right here and it's going to give me some goodies. I think this is totally optional what I'm looking at here right now. So I could come back to it later. Maybe... While I'm looking at this, I'm actually, again, working with Unreal a lot and doing a lot of scripting and programming, gameplay. I'm actually thinking about the blueprint that creates all of this back here. Somebody created a rather sophisticated little node structure here. This is probably one blueprint, which then has the individual child blueprints, which can be toggled, and there's logic running behind the scenes, keeping track of the state of the grid, etc. It actually looks like something that's fun to create. Doesn't really matter to... Okay, so there is a little notch right here, which is really hard to see. Almost impossible to see. Okay. So this lights up when... What's the connection here? It's hard for me to tell why, because this notch looks like this is actually connecting now. Not even sure exactly where it is here. Maybe that notch is just a... It looks like it's a little bit raised, you see. But here, see, this doesn't connect at all. Like, there's no notch here. In fact, this looks like there's no connection. So that is all a little bit confusing. If I had to do this under time pressure, I would have been screwed. So I can, of course, I think, create a connection to somewhere else, like right here. Oh, and so I think the actual routing I need to do is from here to there, maybe. So we'll do this and we'll do this. Still not entirely sure what this actually lit up before, but I think I'm getting somewhere now because I can see myself creating an actual connection to over there. There we go. Yes, I did it. Mission accomplished. Now, did that actually affect something? Did this unlock? This might have unlocked. Perfect. This elevator, which again, I think the way this actually works is perfectly in line with what the System Shock engine could do back then. Like to create this kind of elevator and a secret passage. This looks true. Ah, okay. Oh. I'll give him credits for bumping me out there and not squashing me in the middle. This is where I, as a level designer, would put a secret, by the way. Like whenever you're, certainly when you're playing my levels, when you're going down somewhere with an elevator, bring up the elevator again because there might be something behind it, underneath it. Just like in an adventure game. Like whenever in the old LucasArts adventures, there was a door which was open by default. So you could just go in and out of the room. Go into the room and close the door because there was likely to be a sticky note or something or a key or whatever on the other side of the door and you had to close it first. Alright, so I found some... This is a big secret, if it even is a secret. This might be more than just that. I have the mini-map down there. I'm not entirely sure I can... I don't know if that's good enough for me to really navigate by. But man, this is like a whole new area now that I didn't even expect to be exploring it. Wow. Right, like if you were to follow the main level flow, alrighty. If you were to follow the main level flow, you would not have gone in here, I think. So this is a rather sophisticated. This is probably not just a secret. It's more than that. I mean, the nice thing about System Shock is that it's just a look. It's a skull. I can actually pick that up. Still don't know how to get into my inventory because I probably want to drop it again. There it is. Humanoid skull, and that's pretty much all there is to it. Navigational mapping unit is on right now. Okay, so I can turn on and off my mini-map that way. I can heal myself, well, or I can, this just shows my, that's kind of cool. That's a good way of actually allowing you to customize your HUD. This is very nice. I mean, everything about this, I know it's a pre-alpha demo, but everything about this is incredibly polished already. I love to say, man, it looks like they could ship it right now, because whenever somebody says that about my demos, then I'm like, yeah, I'm glad that you think that way, and everything that you have, that you see right here is as polished as it is, but man, there's like still so much to do behind the scenes, and you just can't see it. We've just cleverly hidden it. So they probably couldn't ship yet, maybe because of content, maybe there's a whole bunch of stuff that they want to approve, but what they do ship here is very, very nice. Like, it's very nice and polished, and man, this is, I would like to say this is one of the best Kickstarters, just based on this, that I've backed. That is a fact. I mean, this is exactly what I expected. It's taking a while to actually come out, but I'm glad that they arrived exactly at this spot. And this is what they're shipping, man. I'm gonna play this entire game, and it's not just a nostalgia trip. Like, this is awesome. Like, this is what I pledged my money for. This is what I was looking for. And to have a group that actually has the rights to this and is now turning that into an homage that's as polished as this is awesome. Interesting ladder mechanic. Turns you around automatically. Not bad. Now, is there anything down here? Again, as soon as this happened right here, like the ladder happened right here, I was, my mind went to, I wonder how this is actually scripted. Because you need to restrict the movement, right? You need to automatically, like, is he doing this? And instead of just making the player fall down, like, you need to take over the player controller for a moment. You need to move the camera. It needs to feel in a way. It's a little bit jarring, but now that I know it happens, what's a little bit jarring about it is still that it feels like somebody's jerking you around. It's a little bit like you're in VR and somebody's moving a headset, which is like kind of nausea-inducing. But generally speaking, this is really well done. And yeah, my mind immediately goes to, I wonder what would I do to actually implement this? it's a curse of a game designer and a game developer, right? Like, you're enjoying these experiences and you love it, but at the same time, these are the kind of thoughts that come to your head. There's very rarely, just like you're a VFX artist and you're watching. Can I destroy this? No. You're a VFX artist, you're gonna watch like Star Wars or Avengers or something, and you're gonna enjoy the movie, but you're probably constantly sitting in there and you're wondering, I wonder how I would have done this. That's what happens for me when I'm playing these kind of games. Now, this might just be in here because it is literally the old level layout, and okay, there's one item up here and there's another item up here. Okay, cool. So that actually did give me something to reward my exploration. Never mind. Going down. Going back up. And this might be the extent. Nope, we keep going. It's not the extent of the probably not secret area. Again, this is... Where are you? There he is. You know what I haven't done? I just noticed... Uh-oh. And I hope this doesn't come back to haunt me. I have not... I have not saved. And I cannot save. Interesting. So I think... Oh no, what did I just do? Oh my god. Oh my god. Why did I just quit? I was just saying, man, you know what I haven't done? I haven't saved. Because I think what this game actually does is it's going to revive you at one of those med stations. And then I quit. Rather stupidly. Alrighty, let's see where it leads us. If nothing else, because I was talking so much, it's going to be rather easy to restore this part of our game state. But that was an epic stream fail, and just a regular fail. So let's see if there's actually any sort of auto saves. And there was not. Wow. And it didn't actually save my key bindings either. So I'm actually back in a completely new game. That is rather... That's unfortunate, let's call it that way. I don't think this actually does anything, by the way. I think everything looks good. So what I'm going to do now, even without talking a lot, I'm just going to replay this very quickly. Mouse button, reload goes on here. Backward. Crouch goes on Q's. Oh, sorry, no. Crouch goes on G, I think. Lean left, lean right. Done. Let's just do this quickly. Not quite yet. Remap keys. Move left, move right. Move left, move right. Alrighty, let's do this again. I have no idea why I pressed the quit button there, but I think it advertised itself as the, hey, quit this menu, go back to the main game. Still, that's 100% user error. Right. But yeah, so really, is there no way to actually load and save the game? No. Well, yeah, so here quit is resume, of course, is... I might rename that to quit game. Again, I blame myself for doing this. I'm not blaming the game, but I might change it just a little bit, or at least certainly add a verification screen, right? Are you sure you want to quit? Something like that. because I'd like to think I'm decently smart about these kind of games. And as much as I blame myself, I think there is an additional like safety step that they can add in the middle there. So I did all this, I did all this. I just want to make sure I don't rush through here so quickly that I actually miss stuff. As I said, I would have known this. Oh, see, I'm trying to do 0451. It's just 451. Just 3 digits. But yeah, I would have known this code. Yeah, so not being able to load and save might just be because it's part of the demo. The idea is to play as far as you want to.
Welcome back to Citadel Station. We hope your somnolent healing stage went well. Today is the 6th
Who are you?
day of November, year 2072. You are currently in
He
the
looks
healing
new.
suites located on the first level.
Huh, this is all new, I feel. That they added a little bit of
Houses the
environmental storytelling. And I'm assuming he is
are on level 4.
an enemy. I mean, everybody's an enemy, I think.
Level 6 holds crew facilities and executive suites, and level 7 is systems engineering. Level 8 houses the Department of Security. The bridge is located on level 9 and energy systems on level R. All levels can be accessed by the elevator in Alpha Quadrant. We hope you have a pleasant stay on Citadel Station.
Yeah, it feels like they added a little bit of environmental storytelling and like beats here. Maybe this guy existed in the old game. I just don't remember anything like this. So I think this was just a room to get some goodies in. This is the main road, of course, you would have taken. Now, let me... Can I go in here? Let me just at least do this puzzle again. And then we'll come back to it later. Like, this was one of those first games that allowed you to loot everything. We're not gonna take human skulls this time. It might be like a Easter egg or something, the altar of human skulls down in the level where you have to put all the... Like, if this was a dungeon, like, crawler, I would totally expect to have to, like the old Eye of the Beholder games. I think Black Crypt, for example, actually had a... Like, you had to bring skulls somewhere. But yeah, here we're just gonna leave them alone. Alright, oh look, it's randomized too. Nice, this is a different one from last time. Maybe it's not randomized and they just have a couple of different configuration, but either way, it's kind of cool. So, but now that I know what to do, right, this is actually really easy and really quick to do. So let's just go in here and take the stuff that I earlier, especially the pistol here. Now, how do I switch weapons? I guess I'm just doing 5. And I got my square beam. And then I might heal myself a little. I think I'm still okay. Like, I have a Medi patch in number 1. And then I have Berserk and Stamina up. But yeah, now that I'm not talking a lot, I mean, you see how quick it actually is to play this. Came from here. I did this. Is this a guy? Oh yeah, there was a guy over there, wasn't there? Nice. Now I'm assuming it runs out of energy. Oh, it just uses my energy up there, doesn't it? But yeah, it's rather quick to... So yeah, jumping down here is still a little bit unexpected. I would just expect it to have fallen down. But I get it. I'm just kind of live tweeting as I'm playing this, my experience. And hey, it makes a lot of sense because otherwise I would have fallen down all the way here, right? I don't even remember if you take fall damage in this game or not. Maybe not back in the day because there wasn't anything resembling falls, but makes sense and it protects the player. Take all. So I have 5 Medi patches. Do I want to use one? I don't know how much they actually recharge my health. That's why I'm a little bit... So I don't want to deplete or, you know, like, use up more than... Leave something on the table, ultimately. That's what I don't want to do, because... Can I do headshots? So I'm going to wait until I'm a little bit lower. And I feel like it's not going to do... it's not going to recharge me to full health and leave a little bit. That is Citadel Station. Man, like that intro, which is not in this demo, but that intro was so iconic to me as well. And the music behind it. I'm not gonna do it for you right here, but the actual voiceover, narrated by Shodan. Tri-Optimum capturing you, taking you on the Citadel, and then Diego comes on. It was actually pretty badly like voice acted. Whoops, look at that. Nice. But for back in the days, it was pretty awesome. I don't even remember. I don't think the voice acting was in the original VGA demo. But I remember replaying this. I finished this twice. I finished it once originally, the original game. And then they did a Super VGA version, where it was in 640 by 480. Glorious high level detail. And I think that was the, what the, that was weird. Oh, I'm out of, okay, so the feedback there is a little bit bad in that I was out of energy when I was shooting this, and it didn't easily advertise itself. Alright, so as I'm shooting this square beam, it's not doing anything. It feels like it's shooting, but it's not, because I don't have any energy. Alright, so that's my method. Okay, it doesn't actually, let's see, how much does it keep going up and up? Still keeps recharging me a little bit, all the way to the top, okay. So maybe I left a little bit on the table, but that is what it is. And then F, this still doesn't work, so I'm not sure what button is actually there to play all of these audio logs. I'm sure they'll figure it out, or I'll figure it out, certainly before the full game came out. But yeah, so I played this twice, and the second time must have been a CD-ROM version of it, which then was in Super VGA and had actual sound, like voiceovers, etc. And again, the voice acting itself wasn't awesome for the day, but it was good enough to, you know, because you just didn't get much voice acting back then, like CD-ROM and pre-rendered cutscenes, etc. None of that was really expected, so it's iconic to me, and it's very much stuck in my mind. Alright, so I'm not lost at all, but I actually went down, like right, I went down the path I said I wasn't going to take. Oops, and I'm definitely going to ignore this guy. I'm going to come back to this later. I'm going to go back all the way to... I'm going to ignore all this. Well, maybe not all this. I was going to backtrack and go the actual path that you're supposed to go. I know that's not... I'm wondering if you can do anything to it, though. No. So maybe I'll just go in here real quick. I'm wondering if I can find an energy cell. Alrighty. Because if I did find some if I found some energy, I could actually take on the guy who's shooting at me back there. Soundscape coming on. It's a little bit heavy-handed. Still works. But yeah, so I'm not really lost so much as I am, again, the grid-based engine. From what I remember back in the days, it's going to just like, it's a square pretty much. And every level is just completely filled up with squares. Right, and so everything kind of looks the same because of the way that the engine works and the way that it's tile-based. And you very much had to rely on the auto map to figure out what was what and where you were. But the one thing that it does here, and I just saw that before the guy was shooting at me, I was going to point it out, is that One way in which you can orient the player a little bit is by using signage, right? And I saw over there I'm in Delta Quadrant now. So even if you're getting lost, that's how I think the game is trying to give you a few just tiny hints in that, you know, alpha, beta, gamma, and delta quadrant. I think that's what they would be. Is it gamma? I don't know. Orients you a little bit. Because I still haven't quite figured out how to actually get my menu. I can do it here. I'm wondering, I don't know how to do it when I'm not actually going into the inventory. It's a little bit hard to go to the map, but yeah, so. If you ask me where I started, I think I started up here. And it says undiscovered, but I think this is the original area. That's the, it's actually nice that it does some, this is all delta quadrant? Gamma quadrant. Okay, so I'm in gamma right now. Central hub. So that gives you a little bit of, I think I saw delta quadrant back over here. This is actually really nice, giving you this this kind of legend for the map. But yeah, I mean it's I know this map even from back then, right? So I know I grew up, I woke up here, went down here, got my first weapon keycard here. This is where I fought my first like the trash can. This is where the medical bed is. This is where the actually this is where 451 is. This is where you come in, Showdown talks to you for the first time. This is where I went down, etc. This is where the guy was tending to the patients. So it all makes sense to me, but I'm not sure. I'm a pretty seasoned gamer when it comes to this kind of stuff, and I'm not entirely sure like more casual players would actually be able to keep track of it. So this is where I can actually listen to notes. Okay. So what I'm wondering is where, here we are. Here are the ones that I couldn't actually find.
Carl has come back from recon without Alan. He says they took Alan into a room marked cyborg conversion, and now he's a cyborg assassin. Carl marked the room with the word here before he ran. One of the technicians says we can just flip a switch and make the converter a surgery unit again. With only 12 of us left, though, it may be an academic point. Maybe someone else should have been leader.
I'm just going to listen to all of these real quick, because one of them might actually have a key code for me.
Gunther was killed today. I can't let myself think about it. I think I understand how Shodan is doing it. When we destroy the cameras and CPU nodes, Shodan loses some of its control over the station functions, at least on this level. I think I can restore manual control in the hospital.
Alright.
Shodan security is closing down on us. The elevators are frozen. Myra keeps saying that it's the cameras and the medical CPU core that Shodan's using these to hold onto the level. That's all fine, but I don't really see how it helps. The thing is everywhere.
So yeah, the voice acting here. It's functional. I don't actually know if it's from back in the day or if it's re-recorded. It certainly gives you some information. And that's what I liked about these kind of games in the first place. Right, not a lot of the information as to how to play the game. Zelda Breath of the Wild recently finally did it again. Instead of just tutorializing everything, a lot of the information, a lot of advanced tips and tricks are all embedded in the world. And you might find them in graffiti in the wall, you might find them in audio logs, etc. And that's where actually listening to these things is useful. Plus, I was hoping I would get a key code, because there was a locked door back in the, like, where I came from. And just hoping to figure out a way to open that one. Here's another one. So I can't, F doesn't work. So we'll play all of these as we get them in medical. Here's a new one.
We're finished. Keith and the others went down the access corridor an hour ago to fight the mutants. None of them have come back. Soon the mutants will come for the rest of us.
And yeah. see, is there anything else in here I can take? No. A lot of these rooms I think are just built to actually add some life or some believability to the station, like this being an actual office. Resist. Of course, there's only so far you could go with actually trying to make this feel like a functional space. And back in the day when System Shock came out, it felt like the most functional space I think you had seen in a game, in these kind of 3D games. It's not just a completely kind of faceless dungeon, right? That's where these kind of, again, if this is adhering to the original layout, which I'm pretty sure it is, these kind of offices very much add to that. Comes with the downside, of course, that sometimes you go into one of these rooms and you're wondering, is there anything in here? You find a goodie probably, maybe you find a security camera in there and that's it, but yeah, as a gamer you imagine or you expect something useful in every single room, even though, like, under the hood and somewhat subconsciously, it's just there to add a little bit of believability. This right here, I feel, and again, this is probably the original layout, this is quintessential System Shock, this kind of layout. Grid system, and it could do slopes, right? So each grid could have a diagonal on it, and it could also go diagonally up and down. And sometimes, I think just to fill in the spaces, you would get these kind of weird corners, which don't really mean much, but that's how they did it. And just the fact that you had these kind of slopes in a game, you know, instead of just a completely like rectilinear kind of environment, added a lot. It actually helped the game stand out back in the day.
Got the supplies from the West Wing. Hanson and Rain killed by mutants nesting the access corridor. We can't just hide here. They're killing us one by one. In an hour, about 20 of us are gonna rush them. We'll try to break through the access corridor and then go to the bridge. If we fail, we'll save our souls.
So these obviously, this is the guy who was just talking to me, right? Everything is a little bit dark, and I don't necessarily make that connection beyond. I mean, he stays somewhat. I mean, this was a kind of faceless death in the first place, right? This was just here to add a little bit of flavor in the first place, but he doesn't necessarily get elevated to a character just through this little voice log. But again, this was probably more than any other game was doing back in the day, where the story of other people who might have experienced the environment the way you are, who also tried to live and ultimately failed in your environment, it's just not something that even existed. I mean, I freaking love Doom, right? Like everybody who knows me knows that. And it actually had ambitions to do this kind of storytelling as well, but ultimately it just turned into a much more arcadey experience, and without these kind of beats. So that's why I still give the game credit, even though I feel that these days, you know, this being a throwback, I think, you know, you want to have it in here exactly this way. But these days, I think you expect a little bit more in terms of characterization and actually, like, telling the player something about the world. Why does this? Here we go. But yeah, from what I understand, Doom was actually supposed to have like a much more sophisticated story. And initially, when you played Doom, you actually had multiple Space Marines all hanging out. You had like different objects that never made it into the game, like chairs and tables, etc. And they then went for something that was just more. Is this open as well? It looks like it should, but it doesn't. Interesting. They went for the straight arcade experience and like amazing like action gameplay, while System Shock went the other way and turned much more into an exploration kind of game that had some action elements but had more stats, more of an RPG kind of upgrade path, and both were awesome in their own right. I'm trying to remember if these kind of screens actually existed in the old game. There might have been an animated texture that actually did it. Can't be sure though. Shodan. Another skull. Where do these skulls come from? I wonder. Because skulls imply decay, right? Like the only way to actually get a skull is to strip all the flesh, all the this is a magazine? Yes. Like all the soft tissue of the underlying skull. And I don't see any... This doesn't seem like the environment. I'm way overthinking it, of course. But this doesn't seem like the environment in which... oh, there he is. In which bacteria and rats and roaches and anything else would actually fester and strip bare a corpse. As I'm saying this, I'm pretty much becoming a corpse myself because I'm running out of... very quickly out of health here. So I'm going to keep playing until I die, I think, because I can't load or save the game. I almost quit again, by the way. So this is, yeah, maybe address that. I'm going to resume instead. So I think this is the... this is where you found a lot of security panels. And this is where you could shut down the security level of this map. I'm not sure if I want to... Okay, so this is cool too, and having it all in the actual world is awesome. Now, trying to remember, of course. So that goes in there. Oh, so this might, I mean, might just be a tutorial more or less. Where did I put crouch? Right there. Having this all in the world instead of just having it neat. Instead of having it in a separate screen is really awesome. Alrighty, so green splits into blue, blue splits into red and yellow. Yellow splits into... Okay, so I think I need to combine it in a way that the colors combine as it's splitting them. Does this actually split at all? What do I do here? Okay, so I just need to... Okay. I want to say this must have been an original puzzle. Okay, and then I expect the actual colors to come out correctly over here. Now, if I turn this off, I don't get a split at all. I just need to find... So, if I just wanted to make this trial and error, right? Because this is 3 factorial ways in which this could combine. So, there's just 6 possible combinations here. But... when you're actually doing it, right, if I don't put it on a whiteboard, I can't necessarily keep track of which ones I've tried. And it's not even, it's not factorial because all of them have to be connected, right? So yeah, it's probably less than that. No, I think it is. Yes, here we go. Well, yeah, so this was trial and error, right? This wasn't me actually thinking. I'm glad that it worked out, but again, you put this under time pressure or something down the line, and that becomes a much harder puzzle because you can't just trial and error it. Now, do I want to actually go down here yet or not? Because I don't have any ammo. Energy, really. I'm going to come back to here. I'm going to, again, I don't know how to actually go to my map without using this. So I'm going to map this. Filters, nice. Oh, so you get everything. It's a cool map then. But yeah, I'm going to come back to this later. I'm going to maybe even backtrack all the way to where I came from and actually start, like, go down the path you're supposed to go. Maybe not supposed to go, but certainly the more... This is the road less traveled, I feel. Let's go down and follow the road more traveled. Again, is there anything here that I missed? Felt like there was a connection here somewhere, but I guess this really is... You know, it's good. Let's go down there. If we die, we die. But then I probably should turn around and actually go back where I came from. Sprint. Nice. I think I should use this more. It's actually not the kind of experience where you expect to sprint or you want to sprint a lot. But for backtracking and going through the level, it's useful. Learning how to open this one. It looks like it even shows me there's something behind it. But where this secret door here just opened, when I used it, the other one doesn't. Alright, I'm going in. Even though this might be the last thing I do. Now, how do I actually get down there? Was this supposed to... Maybe this didn't actually activate? So now it's green, actually. Now it's still green. No, it's not green. Never mind. So I'm not sure I fully understand then. Do I need to get a... I mean, I actually gave it orange and everything here is orange, right? So that's the clue I would kind of go for. I think this is supposed to activate a bridge or something here. I don't know if I want to... Can I jump that far? Let's try... I guess I can, so I'm just gonna jump. And there are some bridges here. Man, it's really dark. I gotta make sure I don't fall down. Some reason, by the way, I keep pressing the right mouse button when I want to attack. And I don't know if that's a muscle memory from way back, because I have a feeling it might actually have been right mouse button back in the day. Might be completely wrong, but it feels like it. So maybe these actually were activated when I did what I did. Not sure. Just gonna keep budging ahead. And so I'm trying to remember if the original System Shock actually had this much verticality in it or not. I mean, I like the layout here because it's good level design, right? Kind of keep wrapping around, keep showing you through balconies and other ways where you're going. Show what have this almost works. It's like there's a switch right where the bridge is actually activated. Might have, I mean, ideally the switch would be here, right? Like a little pedestal, but so you can look at it and you don't have to turn around, but still. So I can go there. I'm gonna, so I didn't think I went all the way down here, so I'm gonna check this out real quick. I'm assuming this is gonna be a dead end with maybe some goodies. Yeah, another, that's a goodie. F doesn't work again. If I knew how to get into my inventory. And I know there was a toggle. I'm gonna try this one more time, but toggle mode T, but it's not it. I don't know what toggle mode T then actually does. does not bring up my inventory, so I'm just constantly having to go up to somebody to open my inventory so I can actually...
I must be one of the last ones who hasn't changed. Shodan must have altered the healing machine I installed in Alpha Quadrant. It does things to people now. I think I saw Beth yesterday, but she had so many implants I couldn't be sure. If I can get to the machine, I know I can set things right again.
Also answers my questions from the beginning of the stream, right? Like, how exactly did these mutants come about? It actually tells you while you're in the game. Shodan's nefarious plans and how people are slowly turning. So I feel like, I mean, obviously it feels like I'm getting somewhere. I'm not entirely sure where I am getting. That's just, I mean, again, that's system shock. It's not necessarily... It gave me an objective at the beginning. It established the stakes as to what's going on. Like the mining laser is, I think it's directed at Earth, etc. So you kind of have an idea what you should be doing, but it is a little bit aimless when you actually go into the level. Like, it still very much thrives on just exploration, right? Like dungeon crawling and exploration, and you're expecting to get somewhere where you're... Huh. Somebody shooting at me from somewhere. You just kind of trusting that you're going to get somewhere where you actually get to accomplish your goals. Ouch. Who the hell? Oh man, who's he? Where's he shooting from? Up there? That is not good. So it's a little bit, it's really hard to see. Yeah, there's a guy standing up there, sniping at me more or less. That is tricky. Now, did I just get some rounds? But again, I don't think I have a weapon yet that allows me to shoot at this guy. Oops, I didn't actually mean to do my stamina up. I mean, I don't have any energy for this. I haven't found any energy, I feel, unless there's something in my inventory that I forgot about. Hold Alt for description. I don't have a weapon for this. Tech type energy, but there's no energy cells anywhere, right? Yeah, so that in here. Can I actually use these? Yeah, it actually does some health, so you know what, we're gonna... I can't. How do I use these? Ah, use, drop, vaporize. Well, I don't have to do any of it right now because I'm at full health. But yeah, so without energy, I think I'm kind of not gonna go anywhere here. Again, I can't bring up my map, so let's do our map here. What was all this? Oh, these were the actual bridges. Man, look how big this level is. Awesome. It might actually, because it's Citadel, I think it has this kind of shape. It's not a perfect grid, but it has that kind of octagon shape. What does that do? Ah. Then we're gonna close it here. Okay, we're gonna go. I'm gonna go all the way back now. Screw this. I just don't feel equipped yet. I don't think I'm quite in the right spot either. I might have found a different weapon if I had only... Did this actually... So I still don't know if this was supposed to get me an actual bridge. But I feel like I might have missed a bunch of weapons and other things that I might have otherwise. So we're gonna go all the way back. And I'm sure there was another way to actually get there. Right, like if you play the regular path, you're eventually gonna get there too. Nope, that was that lonely office we talked about earlier. Still don't know what the key code is here. I would love to know it because I think that would get me some goodies. But I don't see. I mean, it's usually... Oh, where did you come from? Oh, come on. See if I can take him out around the corner. See if we can actually draw him over here. There he comes. Charge! Oh. Alrighty. Actually worked pretty well. I like this guy up close, actually seeing the implants, you know, having seen the guys on the, Oh, and he doesn't have anything. Come on. At least expect some energy or something. Having seen the guys on the slabs earlier and somebody tending to them, turning them into these kind of like cyborgs, that's pretty cool. I think both of these guys are just a little bit like they're just affecting each other, and that's how the ragdoll is just jiggling them around. Screw it, going all the way back. Just realized if I really was like a modern streamer and was doing this full time, I haven't said chat once. Isn't that what you're supposed to do when you're playing this game? You're constantly addressing the people who are watching you by just calling chat. Oh my god, chat, I almost died here. Alright, chat, we're back. This is the beginning. See what's behind here, chat. Not gonna do it. Also not trying to deride it. I just realized that's not the way I usually talk when I'm streaming or playing these kind of games. Can I actually put these guys out of their misery? Yes. Probably a good thing to do. I don't think they would ever come back and start attacking me, but... Poor souls. Is this like a separate mesh? It actually looks like somebody modeled how, like, the stretchiness of the undergarments into the mesh, which is kind of cool. I mean, that just shows you that it's not an old school game because you have the polygons to do that. But yeah, usually that just would have been a texture map, of course. Alright, let's go down here, because this is how I remember playing the game back then. And I remember these kind of hallways, which honestly, like, I seem to remember they were larger. I remember this, actually. Let me do this real quick. Like, they felt hollow, like, higher back in the days, like more cavernous. Maybe that's just it's probably just my recollection. But yeah, this is like the iconic System Shock look for me. This right here. Like the actual slanted, like the slopes, and you could actually go up and down. You could actually create something that wasn't, again, rectilinear, because other than Doom, everything was just a grid. So yeah, this right here is the iconic System Shock look. This right here makes me very happy to have backed this project. Oh, come on. Alrighty, I think I'm gonna take a medi patch here. And this again, I would love an option at least. I understand why they're not doing it. I think I would love an option for the perfect retro experience to just play the old music while I'm doing this. Because I think this is something that it would add if you know, played the game back in the day. I think I also would like a little bit more feedback when these guys are attacking you. There's actually like a HUD effect whenever you get hit. But because it's purely visual and there isn't any audio and everything is a little bit, just a tiny bit busy anyway in terms of like everything that's going on. Can't actually go in here, huh? Oh, because there's that. Everything is visually just a tiny bit busy. That effect gets lost a bit on me. And the actual signs and feedback as to how much I'm getting hit and when I'm getting hit, it just doesn't feel as visual as it could be in terms of, you know, like making a connection between the guy's swiping his arms and me losing health. Right, let me find a corpse again so I can go in here. I'm sure I'll figure that out down the line. Let me regain some health by drinking some soda. And now listen to that.
Status report.
That audio log.
Beta quadrant behind a radioactive trench. The mutants are scavenging for food in the corridors and nesting in Gamma. I sent a party to the West Wing for supplies maybe 12 hours ago. Nathan Darcy is thinking of ways to disable the mining laser. It looks like we might hold them off.
This is where one of those famous television like narrators would come in and say, "They did not." Yeah. Oh, okay, there actually was a... Was that actually... Maybe there was a sound effect for when I'm getting hit and I just missed it before. I know. Just tells you then. I mean, my feedback I think still stands because it wasn't quite clear enough to me. I mean, you hate it as a game designer when you're getting that kind of feedback and you're like, but there is a sound effect there, you just didn't hear it. But having done this for a while, you know, the actual game design response then has to be, oh, okay, well, I thought I made this clear enough, but the player didn't get it, so... yeah, I think that's where, you know, my feedback still stands. I'm not expecting, like, the developers, if they ever even see this, to do any of this, by the way. There's nothing worse than an entitled player. Even, or especially with Kickstarters, by the way. I'm gonna go on this run after that we listen to this.
Please, some of us are still resisting Shodan. We have a sanctuary in Beta Quadrant, guarded by a radioactive trench. There's a force bridge that operates off a wiring pad. If you're coming in from Alpha, guards will extend the bridge for you. Be very careful. Mutants are all over the corridors. Good luck.
But yeah, it's not really a rant either. I feel if you're backing a game, if you're buying a game, you're right. You know, that's the way I usually like approach all of my games. The gamer is always right. At the same time, you gotta understand, like with these kind of Kickstarters, there's people pledging money so these projects get made. And this is weird. I expect this to totally work because it's green. And they're gonna try to get as much of the feedback as possible. A lot of the feedback you're giving, they probably already know about. So when I'm giving any sort of feedback here, it's feedback. That's really what it is, right? It's not even a request. It's certainly not a demand. It's just a way which I think is useful for a game developer to get actual playtest feedback and see how people who have no idea, like they're not habituated to these games. That's what happens. That's the worst thing that can happen when you're playing a game, and it happens when you're developing a game, and it happens automatically. You get habituated to it. All of the little things which might be annoying just become second nature because you are playing this game every day and you have learned to compensate for them, right? And you just don't see it anymore because you're so used to the game. So that's where outside feedback of somebody who's completely uninitiated can be useful. But it's an empty soda can, so we're gonna vaporize it. But yeah, that's my little rant or soapbox, I feel. That's how it could be useful. Again, as I mentioned earlier, let's see what this does. If it does anything. How do I use this? This looks interesting and I very much want to use it, but there's no feedback, there's no sense in feedback of whether I could actually use it. Interesting. Don't remember this from the original game either. I know. But yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the reason why I'm giving this kind of feedback, I think it comes very naturally because it's part of the job, right? And as you're, you know, just like a VFX artist is going to see all, instead of just watching a movie, is going to see how things are made and is going to like critique it in his mind or her mind. I automatically, when I play these kind of games, have this kind of feedback. I'm always making a mental note to get to it. That's really what it comes down, boils down to. It's like, oh, I still gotta fix that. So I don't see a way to interact with this thing. And I got a keycard, but I'm not sure what the keycard was for. So I guess I'll file it away mentally and maybe come back to it later. I mean, I have to remember again, I'm actually really early on, right? Like this is Like, if you played the level and started out going down this route, this would have been super early in the progression. It probably would have been filed away mentally as, I wonder what that does. And then you would have figured it out down the line. Been in here, just make sure I didn't miss anything. So again, like, this conjures so many not memories actually, because I don't remember specific things, but it feels familiar. Okay, so this is not usable either, so that's definitely something I would love to get better sense and feedback on. When there's a green button, I expect that green button to work, right? Obviously. When there is a red button, I expect things to not work. So, I mean, that's easy visual language that I form an expectation based on. But yeah, I don't even have specific memories of doing this or that in the game back in the days. I just remember this feels familiar. Like, this feels cozy and awesome. I mean, I must have played this game, what, in 94 or so? I would have been 18 back then, 17 maybe, depending on when. Maybe this came out in 94, didn't it? Or was it earlier? Was it 93? I mean, Underworld was 92. I remember that. Sorry, just one moment here. So this was a long time ago. But it still feels familiar. In a really cool way. Like going down a hallway and remembering, uh-oh, gotta be careful here, this is where I died earlier. You know, again, like this being one of the first experiences of this kind, which is kind of, it's not Doom, it's a different, whoa, this is really dark. But it's not Doom, but it's still an action kind of experience. First time you're really playing an immersive sim like this, so, oh cool, so here are, perfect, here are the kind of weapons that I was missing earlier when I feel like I didn't have anything to fend for myself in the more dangerous parts of this level. Perfect. Alright, so the way you're processing an experience like this and the way it drills itself into your mind is just different from today, where it's just like, it's familiar, right? You play the game and hopefully there's something new to engage you. But the core mechanics, the core... Oh, dude. You... Alright. Well, good thing I just got a Magnum. So let's see and let's use it. Oh, and this is where I can zoom in, maybe? Oop, how did that just get me? How is he shooting at me? It feels almost like he's... But yeah, these days you just kind of take a lot of things for granted. That back in the day when you started playing a game like this, when it was truly novel because it's the first time you're doing it, well, things just weren't as familiar. So I got the Magnum and I got this pistol. I still got some soda, so we're gonna use that. Another empty can, so we're gonna vaporize it. Kind of proud of myself that I haven't died yet. But as a kind of almost like an insta-death kind of experience, this is kind of nice. Oh man, could die very quickly here. I gotta be careful that oh, this guys are sniping me. So that's. Did I get it? Oh wait, that was not. That was just a camera, and I just wasted ammo on it. So who was shooting at me? Well, these are the snipers that were mentioned in one of the audio logs, right? Okay, so I am getting sniped from back here, and this is the kind of experience that I seem to remember, even if I don't remember it specifically. Like people shooting from me through darkened corridors from far away, having to be careful. And I'm just as on edge as I was back then because, well, I mean, I'm playing this as insta-death right now in a way, and I want to keep playing at least a little bit more. Where is that coming from? Jesus. Okay, chat, this is where we use chat. Where is that coming from? What the hell? That is not pleasant. Where am I getting shot from? This is where I would love... I would bring up the brightness just a tiny bit. Man. Back there somewhere? No? Because then I was in here, right? There's nobody here shooting at me. Can't go through here. Nothing can go through there, I think. Alpha quadrant. Showdown again. There's another. That's the same. No, it's not the same cameras or anything. Are those things shooting at me? I doubt it. Can I destroy them? Are those actual cameras? Yep. Gotta make sure I don't get shot at again as soon as I'm not paying attention. Quadrant. Honestly, a little bit lost now. I feel like I got turned around just a tiny bit. I know I'm not where I just was. But I'm lost just a tiny bit. Pretty sure I wasn't here, but I'm still trying to figure out where those shots were coming from. And yeah, so this is okay. Maybe it's a bug. Could be, possibly. There we go. It's coming from down there. It's coming from back there. It's coming from out of nowhere. Feels like. It might just be that somebody is actually able to sense me, like the AI is actually able to sense me. I'm going to just kind of sidestep it. Yeah, I finally got some energy back. Maybe down there. Is that the guy who was shooting at me? Are you guys shooting at me? I'm out of better. Yeah, I'd like some more better sense and feedback there too. Just in terms of, it just looks like you're shooting, even though you're not shooting, obviously. Can I get more energy out of this? No. Ah, well. But yeah, so I think those guys were actually shooting at me. And probably were not supposed to be able to do that. Any more guys here have anything for me? Nope. So what is going on down here? Anything that I want to know about? Okay, this is green now. Oh, okay. I don't even remember these. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I actually get to do a puzzle up here while I'm hovering. So I think, let's see how I can connect this. Nope. So if I connect this from there to there, it's a dead end. Let's start on the other side maybe. Do this and then this and then that and then no, that doesn't work because this doesn't. No, that does turn. So that connects, and then does it have to go all the way around here maybe? And then here. Oh, do I have it? Nope. Almost. So close. Does that turn? Nope. That does not turn. So how do I... If only. Then that doesn't turn. Uh-oh, that's almost a short circuit. So there we go. That does it, right? Yes, perfect. And oh look, there's even a camera up here, like a camera panel. Now, what did this actually affect? Can I actually use this camera panel, or is that just... I think that is showing me what I just unlocked. I think that's the idea here, that I can see the doorway which I cleared. Anything under here? Nope. Hey, look, I can actually get energy back. These actually come back up. That's awesome. I kind of forgot about that. So that means, because I know where another one of these is, right? So I can actually... So I'm going to do this real quick. I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning. And I'm going to recharge myself. Yeah. In here. Yes, perfect. Nice. And we can also go to the square beam by default. Just a moment here. Alrighty. So that's where, because there's some red buttons which actually open, but this one doesn't. That's where things are a little bit confusing. Is this a secret door? Oh, nice. More. I got all the power I need right now. Good. And this actually gets marked on the map, right? Yeah, it's the blue. Perfect. Ah! Perfect. I have no idea if headshots work. I kind of assume they don't, just because they didn't back in the day, but I have no idea. Again, you have to remember that even things like these damage textures and so on are all tropes that we have them in here now because we expect them from modern games, but you didn't get this kind of stuff in the original System Shock. In fact, Sin, which is one of the first game I ever worked on back in '98. We were like the first game that I remember, first-person shooter that actually had localized damage textures, so you could tell where you could shoot somebody. And just this notion of headshots and actually being able to target people, being able to shoot through their feet. Like back then, this was just one big bounding box, and that was it. So you either hit them or you missed them. There was no pinpoint accuracy when you're shooting at these guys. There was no way to target body parts, etc. So I don't know if a headshot I expect it to work here or not. I kind of do by modern conventions. I don't if I look at this as a pure remake from, you know, how System Shock worked back in the days. Alright, I'm gonna need to take a quick break here. So I'll be right back. Alright, and we're back. Funny thing is I didn't even pause the game, so something bad could have happened. Did I just... No, did not go in here. Oh, nice, more rounds. And again, my media.
Alright, Althea. We can destroy the laser by firing it into the station's own shields. Isotope X-22 is stored in the science level, and we need to bring it down to the reactor level to power the shields. Then you turn them on, use the safety override code to enable the laser, and fire. The laser controls and my notes are on the science level, and the override code's in the science library. I have no idea how you're going to do all this, but good luck.
So this right here, that's pretty much your objectives. I'm not even going to be able to do all of this in this demo, right? Because you have to hop between different levels and stuff. But that right there, kind of nonchalantly, just gives you like your entire map for, like objective map for what you need to do. And I don't know if there is, again, because don't know how to actually bring this up. Status. I don't know if there is a way to. Like, I don't think there's an objective system, which I like. Like, if I remember correctly, you know, this is all you got. It tells you inventory. It tells you where you are, gives you that kind of information, but there's no objective system. Not very modern. You probably couldn't get away with it these days, but yeah, that's how you played the game. And I think, I mean, I can remember this, right? Also, again, I can kind of trust that, I can trust that the game is going to give me in the, like I'm going to get to all of those mission objectives automatically at some point anyway. But everything feels much more self-directed, right? Like nobody is pushing you through this level. Nobody is telling you or keeps encouraging you to do this thing. You're pulling the experience. You're just scavenging, you're exploring. And you happen to finish these kind of objectives as you're playing the rest of the game. It's the kind of experience that I love. I mean, I like being in that kind of environment where the player is just encouraged to do things on her own and do things at her own pace. But again, like as a commercial experience, that's not necessarily super mass market. That doesn't really connect to a lot of people who might not have the time to do this. You sometimes just want to be led along, who want a more directed experience because it helps them actually enjoy the game better. So it's just a preference that I have, and I'm glad that this is still alive in this game right here, but I'm not saying it's necessarily the way to go. It's not necessarily, hello. One way is not necessarily better than the other one. But that's how we got here, right? Like that's how games developed. System Shock is still very much in that old vein, just like Doom was back in the day. You just play and accomplish these kind of objectives. And we slowly then become more sophisticated with actually creating a directed experience as well. But yeah, this feels old school, and maybe that's a good or bad word for exactly that reason. And I love that this doesn't actually have now an objective system to guide me along, and I still get to like discover all of this stuff on my own. Can I get up there? Probably not. So I was hesitating to go into the room next to here because it looks like that might be some sort of environmental hazard. Came from there, right? Like this looked like poison or something similar. This looked like maybe I should whoa. That looked like a bug where these things just disappear without any signs and feedback. I mean, it's an alpha demo, so it's fine. But yeah, I was hoping maybe they blow up or there's something else that happens to help me. I'm assuming if I go in here, yeah, biological contamination, which then slowly goes down. Now, do I have an actual, use my Medipatch here, stamina up. Do I have anything that actually shields me from it? Is there some sort of, I don't think so. No, do I actually want to go in there? Because this just looks like goodies. Okay, let's just race through here. Take all. Ah, close. Not good. Move everything up. Take this, take this, take this. Nothing here. Nothing. Oh yeah, take all. And back out. Alright, so now I'm gonna have some poison damage for just a little bit. Was it worth it? I don't know. But I think I'm just gonna use a Medipatch again here. So I think that's gonna get me back to the health I had before. Oh, this is a toilet. I don't even remember. Yes, so one staple of immersive sims is whether you can actually flush the toilet or not. I don't know if I can flush it, but I can use the toilet, so that's good. Pretty sure this was not in the original game. Okay. Alright, so the flip side of what I just talked about, how I love self-directed experiences and how I love just finding my own way and then not being objective system, is sometimes you feel like you get lost just a little bit. So I actually do remember where I am now. And hey, I think I have all the weapons now to now make my way into the, I don't know if it was Power Bay or whatever it was. I just have to find my way back in there. Which was, I mean, I'm in Alpha Quadrant right now. Oops, I just accidentally used something and I have no idea what. Was it up here? I don't think so. So I now want to go into Gamma Quadrant. And I want to go back to where all of those light bridges were. Ah, don't go in there. Have I been up here yet? Looks like I might not have been up here. Nope, it just showed up on the map. Because, what's this? Systems monitor. Interesting. But yeah, so I have to find my way back now to where I actually want to go. Which I thought it was. What is this? Really hard to tell. Kinda dark. So I thought it was back here. Oh yes, okay. So here I remember this. So this is how we go around. And was it this one or is this my lonely? Yeah, that was my lonely office over there. Yeah. Yep. It's the guy we talked about him earlier. How he's still a kind of faceless guy, even though he had an audio log. It's all coming back to me now. Again, I feel that these kind of height variations might be new. The original game didn't have it. I feel everything still feels incredibly in line with the original System Shock, but it adds a little bit of visual interest, which is cool. These might actually have existed though, coming to think about it. I don't know. Memory's a funny thing, and this was, I mean, 25 years ago, 26 years ago. So what do I know? The answer is I probably don't. Alright, so let's go back here and continue where we left off earlier, and I just didn't feel like I could easily fend off against those guys who were attacking me. I feel like I should have recharged my energy before I came back here, but that is what it is. So I think there was a guy right up there, if I remember correctly. And he might not be there anymore. He might have moved, or can I actually reach that? No. Or he might just be around. Remember this door that we opened? Was it that door? That's a little bit hard for me to keep track of. And did I actually kill this guy? Like, is this how I could have gone earlier and I just didn't? Interesting. Yep, and I probably shot the guy. Without even noticing him. Maybe that's him? That might also be a corpse. Either way. So that's where everything is super crazy connected, right? And you're slowly like creating a mental map of all this stuff in your head, which is awesome. And you're figuring out how things actually connect. If you're the original level designer, all of this makes perfect sense to you. And it's always interesting to even to find out that people do not understand the spatial layout as perfectly as you do. Now, as a good level designer, you understand that what comes natural to you because you built this space might not necessarily come natural to anybody who's in this space for the first time. It's one of the things that you learn as you are making more and more levels. Another bathroom, and there's nothing in here. So I can go down here. Can I find anything down here? Does this guy have anything? No. Is this? Oh, look at that. This looks like... Was this a memory stirs? Was this a way to... Is this like a little energy maze? Trying to remember. Oh, you should not be able to stress. Can I actually... Let's see if this works. No, so it's just the visual mesh which actually goes through there, but you cannot actually... You might be able to do damage to me though, that's just the way these things work, so... We're gonna be very extra careful. There we go. He had some soda, awesome. Can drink some health later. Another guy around here? What's this? Battery packs. So I think those I can use to... Oh. Who's shooting at me? Uh-oh. Is this another one where I might be getting shot at from phantom places? Feels like it might be. Battery pack, of course, I think I can use to refill my energy weapons. Let's try that. Not yet, because I think I'm still okay. So now, and I kind of turned myself around, I think... Which direction did I want to go? This way. I think, I feel. Oh, another bucket. And he has a soda as well. Somebody might have thrown that away. Another lead pipe. Well, I already have a lead pipe, so never mind. I thought this might have been an upgrade.
This elevator serves me alone. I have complete control of this entire level. With cameras as my eyes and nodes as my hands, I rule here in St.
Well, I guess this is the elevator. System Shock had this awesome... Oh, this is where, if I had just gone straight, actually would have found this way earlier. System Shock had this awesome elevator music, which was also this... Because, I mean, this qualified as a horror game back when System Shock came out, right? Like, the experience here was intense back in the day. So it had this weird juxtaposition where you're in this tense kind of horror atmosphere, and then you get into the elevator and it's playing just regular elevator music. So I wonder if that's actually in the game or not. I don't know if I'll actually be able to get into the elevator, of course, because the demo does not... the demo only has one level. I also feel like I might be coming to the end of the stream pretty soon. I might just pause it and pick it up later. So I haven't seen a way yet to save, right? There's no way to save here. Which I'm sure it's just for this demo. Unless there are save stations, which, you know, that was a trope back then. I forgot if this was actually the way you did things back in the day. But yeah. We're gonna play like 10 more minutes, see how far we get. Again, kind of finding my way to, yes, medkit. Am I still gaining health from those sodas? No, so maybe I will use a, Medipatch, not a Medfoot. But then maybe I will. Make sure I have a medkit available when I need it. I feel like I don't need this lead pipe. So drop it. I don't need this guy either. Drop it. There's no way to pretty sure there's no way. There's not a system in which weapons deteriorate, etc. And you want to keep them around. So let's keep finding our way. I love how after I was praising the aesthetics of this game, there's one guy. That's actually, he is. I mean, he shouldn't be able to shoot through the wall, but he's not shooting from nowhere. Ah. But yeah, after I was praising the aesthetics of this game, where it's super self-directed and nobody's trying to give you overt objectives, I love how right afterwards I kind of get lost in what do I do next. There's always the flip side to everything. It's all really about preferences, and it also depends on. I mean, I'm just playing this on a stream. Don't expect anybody's gonna ever watch this, so I don't care about getting stuck. But it kind of gives you another indication of where more modern aesthetics come from. Like, what I like doing right here, not caring about getting stuck, it's not something I would do in a game that I actually design and put out there for players. It's just not user-friendly. How do
Cyborg conversion cancelled. Standard station restoration procedures online.
Okay. Is this a safe station? Is this an actual, like, this is where you get resurrected? I forgot how System Shop saved. Not sure. There was also this weird handle thing that we saw earlier, and I wasn't quite sure if that worked. But yeah, so you know what? On the map, as soon as I can open the map, it might actually tell us what this is. Alpha Quadrant. No. Is there a legend? Like what it actually tells us? Oh, respawn chambers. There we go. So if we turn everything off, except for the respawn chambers, there you go. That's what it is. Perfect. Is that a log from Shodan, or is that a log about Shodan? Not sure. I love the transparency here, which of course is something you couldn't have done back in System Shock. So I'm trying to remember what this actually looked like back then. Might just have been solid, or it was just a mass texture. Alright, let's listen to this log. There's a few of them actually.
Now we've got to get to the bridge and stop Shodan. Some of us want to go to the flight deck and escape instead. Hopefully, there's still some weapons in the armory we can use against the mutants. Todd Blankenship was able to get the combination 705 from a security officer. We're gonna try for it tomorrow.
705. Where is it?
Now we've got to get to the bridge and stop Shodan. Some of us want to go to the flight deck and escape instead. Hopefully, there's still some weapons in the armory we can use against the mutants. Todd Blankenship was able to get the combination 705 from a security officer. We're gonna try for it tomorrow.
Alrighty, so there was one keypad a while ago, and I actually might have found this nearby that I could use this code on, 705, but not sure if I'm nearby. Let's see. I'm gonna go back to that one keypad dock that door that I do remember, and see if 705 works on that. oops, 705. Yes, that worked. Awesome. I mean, that's again the flip side of the flip side, right? Like when you figure stuff like this out, it wasn't put anywhere in your log. You just have to remember where the door was. You find the key code, and it actually works. That's like one of those eureka moments where you, man, a lot of people died in here, but that's one of those moments where you're like, yes, it feels really good. Awesome. Anything else in here? I think that's it. There we go. And so I think this is a good stopping point. Like having found this, now I would totally keep going, but I have something else to do. Definitely gonna come back to this game. Can I save now after I found the... No. So if you did follow along, or you actually watched this down the line, hope you enjoyed it a little bit. You got to see the demo. Really happy about having back this project. Can not repeat this enough. I think this is the perfect System Shock remake. Like this is what Kickstarter is all about, and this is where you put a good team, give them the resources to recreate a classic game like this, and you get to not only relive the memories, and you get to relive the experiences, you just get a fun experience out of it. I think this is not a modern game, obviously, we just talked about it, but this is 100% fun to me. I can't wait until the full game comes out. Like, I am probably gonna play the full thing at that point. Thanks for following along. Talk to you later. Thinking about streaming some other things. I want to stream John Romero's Doom episodes, for example, so maybe stop back later, and I'm gonna post on Twitter when I'm actually gonna do that. Alright, have a great Christmas. Talk to you later.